that peak up there? That is Wheeler Peak, the second highest peak in Nevada. I'm gonna be on top of that, although ironically, as high of a peak this is gonna be my easiest hike of the entire trip. It's only like 3,000 feet of vert. All right, well, we've taken a long winding road up over 10,100 feet here. The summit is over 13. That is not the summit, that's the other one. That is the summit. Wheeler Peak, that's Doso Doyabi or something. Used to be called like Mike Smith Peak or something. So this is gonna be a little over 4 miles each way. There you go. 8.6 with 2,902 feet of elevation gain. And I looked at the profile and it starts off pretty tame, and then you just walk right up, you get to a saddle and then you just walk right up the ridge. So this might be the last hike of this long trip, but it'll be a high peak at least, and a new national park that I'm checking off. I think it's 41 or 42 for me. So anyway, I have a summit snack, I have a liter of water, and it's like 73 degrees. So as you can see, basically it's very tame trail for like the first 2 miles, and then you just walk from that saddle, you just walk straight up the ridge, and it obviously is going to get steeper up higher. So I'm actually surprised this is 4.3 miles. It doesn't look like that. It looks like it'd be about a, 2.5 mile hike from the trailhead to the peak. So this is honestly, the first 2 miles, based on the elevation profile, are more or less joggable. So it's just gonna be a slog up probably a loose, steep ridge. But this should be a pretty enjoyable hike and effort to end out the trip. Hello, you can move. Well, we're kind of close to hitting the saddle, I think, and we've gone in over 2 miles and not even gone up 1,000 feet. So we got to go up, I think, over 2,000 feet to the summit there. So I'm sure there will be some steep, sloggy sections. I haven't seen any high peaks where it's this tame of a lead up. I mean, you start very high on the road, almost at 10.2, and then there's like 2.5 miles of trail where you barely go up at all. Just working our way up the ridge. It's kind of loose, but popped up, I don't know, 500 feet from the saddle maybe. I'd venture we have almost 1,500 left to go. Woo! Alright, we're about to gain this shoulder. And I'd venture once we gain this shoulder, we got less than 1,000 feet. There's your summit somewhere up there. Hopefully there's not full summits. I don't think there are. But again, just a steep walk up the ridge. This hasn't been too bad, honestly. It's just kind of loose and talusy. But yeah, we're almost there. probably 600 feet more. I feel like the summit's probably further, but unsure. But this hasn't been too steep at all. It's just a nice walk up through talus. Now we've cleared another shoulder and maybe got 400 feet left, if I had to guess. There's a couple of people coming down. No one else going up, which makes sense, I guess, later in the afternoon, although the weather's fine. So we're almost there. Almost there. As per usual, the ridge is always longer and higher than it appears. And it appears your summit's up here, but you never know. Let's find out. Yes, looks like it. Yeah. Wheeler Peak, second highest point in Nevada. Over 13,000 feet. Here's the summit marker. Woo! Slog up the ridge. That was an hour 29 minutes up. Thought it'd be a little quicker, but oh well. 4.3 miles, almost 3,000 feet of vert. Oh yeah, got my peanut M&M summit snack. I think that's Doso Doyabi or Doso Doyabi over there. So I think there's sort of a cool ridge traverse. But I'm just gonna go back down, and then I think I got about 8 or 9 hours home. I don't know, maybe I'll stop. Maybe I'll do something in Zion. Maybe I'll do something in Sedona or Flag. Who knows? But I'll do it for Wheeler Peak. Possibly the last hike of an epic trip. I've made it back down to the saddle. That descent's pretty long. I mean, we're talking over 2 miles probably, and probably over 2,000 feet, and rocky. So it wasn't too fast. It's probably about 15-minute miles. But now, once we get on this trail, we should be able to hammer down in like 20-25 minutes these last 2+ miles. That's the town of Baker that you see all the way out there down the valley. That's where you cut up to drive like some ridiculous amount, 16 miles up this road. There's your peak. There's the one we didn't do. So, should be back at the car in 15 minutes. And that's gonna do it for Wheeler Peak in Great Basin National Park, Nevada. Not to be confused with Wheeler Peak, the high point of New Mexico. I also got a video on that. Pretty comparable hikes, to be honest. This one's a little rockier up top, but I think Wheeler in New Mexico has a little more vert, but similar times. So that was like 2:35. Yeah, so that's it. Got a long way down to drive and a long way to drive, depending how far I go now. Whew.